isn't this just fantastic?
Captain's Log, Subject 200921.7. We've been encountering issues with the ISO cubes, where they've been filling up a bit fast. Turns out some of the judges are a tad cube happy, so I've introduced a top and tail system for those in for longer sentences. Today, in my infinite wisdom, I felt we should take a moment out of our very hectic schedules to address something I've noticed that has been a bit of a, and let's air quote this, trend, end air quotes, for the better part of 5 years, since the very first person, Patient Zero, came to light. There are places, establishments, charities, organizations that exist and cater to someone of a particular demographic. Others who do not fit the bill, therefore, are hardly welcomed unless they are subservient in some manner. Over the course of the last 5 years, there have been 6 very prominent names, some not as famous as others, but don't worry, I've done videos on all of them, and it's only right we go through each and every one to lead to the newest addition, who happens to be the 6th. To start, we introduce Rachel Dolezal, who as early as 2009 started to self-identify as black. She is of Northern and Central European ancestry. Her brother noticed that she started darkening her skin and perming her hair in 2011, with her admitting to her brother Ezra Dolezal, "Don't blow my cover," when she tried to fit in as somebody of another race. In a June 10, 2015 interview about various alleged hate crimes that Dolezal had reported, Jeff Humphrey for KXLY-TV asked Rachel Dolezal about a Facebook post in which Rachel Dolezal identified Albert Wilkerson as her dad. Afterwards, many memes surfaced along with rather amusing clips of her not fundamentally understanding race. And yeah, the NAACP got quite triggered from this, because she was the president of the Spokane chapter of the NAACP. Because of Rachel Dolezal, this led to a debate on people identifying as another race, or transracial identity. Yes, she's a real trendsetter there, right? Next on the list would be Sean King, a man whiter than a redneck, who is still very much active on Twitter fighting for the rights of his, air quotes, people, end air quotes. It is quite astonishing that 2 very much white people want to fight for the rights of those and take power and privilege away from those people using the very structures they themselves identify with to speak on behalf of other people that have struggled when they have had, by definition, very privileged upbringings. And I mean by definition of the very earlier stated beliefs that they hold. Then we move on to Martina Big and her manservant, Mr. Big. Martina Big wanted to look like Pamela Anderson, and in doing so, started tanning heavily, got her knockers increased so that they drag on the floor, a few decades would have done that for free, and getting melanin injections. She then went on to Maury Povich's show, and said she identifies as black but has a lot to learn, which I believe was an almost identical quote and mannerism that she herself used, saying that she really likes chicken. Right, okay. Interesting side note, I saw her at Heathrow Airport. Was it last year? It was last year. She's nuts. I spoke with her for about 10 seconds. That's all I needed. Martina Big has since gone on to appear on multiple TV shows in the US and in the UK, talking about her racial identity, because she also believes this transracial identity is a thing. With that in mind, you can go to Anthony Lennon, who is a British theatre director who had to admit he is an African born-again, and that he has gone through the struggles of a black man, even though he's white with white parents. Anthony Lennon used a black and minority ethnic scheme to get into theatre, basically depriving someone who was black and minority ethnic from having a scholarship that would have otherwise been used for them. Not that I'm in favour of using scholarships in that manner, but Jesus Christ, that was precious. In the 53rd episode of The Exhibition of Stupid People, link below, I spoke about a woman called Jessica Krug. Jessica Krug, or Krug, I don't care enough, is a Jewish lady who also then decided to identify as black or mixed race. How no one noticed or called this out, much like with previous ones sooner, is a mystery to me, although with Dolezal there were a number of controversies between 2010 and 2015, so there was something at least to play with on that. But the others, interesting. I'm going to play the clip from the 53rd Exhibition of Stupid People explaining who Jessica Krug is and what happened to her, because it is quite fascinating. In keeping with the theme of education, we're going to go with Jessica Krug, or Krug. I don't care enough about the pronunciation. She did something really bad, and it's worth talking about. Jessica is an African-American history associate professor at George Washington University, and has recently written a blog post. This blog post has understandably drawn many comparisons to that of Rachel Dolezal and Sean King, and Irate Alex, where Jessica has revealed in a Medium blog post that she's lied about being black her entire career, and that she is in fact white and Jewish and was raised in Kansas City. The city part means nothing to me because I'm sure they have people who are black there. But she has done this for her whole career. She has lied and deceived colleagues. She has taken grants from black and minority ethnic charities and scholarships. The blog post she wrote is called "The Truth and the Anti-Black Violence of My Lies." For the better part of my adult life, every move I've made, every relationship I've formed has been rooted in the napalm toxic soil of lies. To an escalating degree of my adult life, I have eschewed my lived experience as a white Jewish child in suburban Kansas City, under various assumed identities within a blackness that I had no right to claim. Earlier this year, under a pseudonym called Jessica La Bombalera, she posted a video denouncing white New Yorkers who did not yield their time for black and brown indigenous New Yorkers. She also, to avoid getting caught out, didn't attend her mother's funeral so that she could continue living her lie. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Now she's willing to admit she is a culture leech and a coward. I'm so happy to hear that. But understandably, people have gotten a bit annoyed about this. Acknowledging what you did is wrong after doing this for over 20 years is really bad, but I would say, much like Dolezal, I don't know how you managed to convince anyone. I'm really confused. Do let me know in the comments down below if you see what she says she sees that makes her, along with many other people, believe that she was a black lady for 20-odd years, because I really don't see it. So with those $5 Dolezals out of the way, we come to Rachel Dolezal 6.0, a white graduate student who ended up resigning from their teaching position at the University of Wisconsin-Madison after falsely claiming to be a person of color. CV Vitolo Haddad, whose non-binary pronouns are they-them, admitted to misrepresenting their race. This particular academic is Southern Italian and Sicilian, not black or Latino, as they themselves have claimed. While using the site Medium, a blogging site, much like with Jessica Krug in fact, Vitolo Haddad wrote, "I went along with however people saw me. I over-identified with unreliable and unproven family history and latched onto anything I remembered growing up, admitting that these actions were deeply misguided and caused an incredible amount of hurt for the Madison community as well as anyone who has been exposed to this public reckoning. Expressing deep regret by saying I deceived by inserting myself into black organizing spaces I didn't belong in, calling this parasitic and harmful, and that perception is not reality and race is not flat but a social construct rife with contradictions. I have let guesses about my ancestry become answers I wanted but couldn't prove. I have let people make assumptions when I should have corrected them. And that to remedy this, Vitolo Haddad has resigned as co-president of the Teaching Assistants Association and Associate Professorship at UW-Madison. For Vitolo Haddad, this came after a week of anonymous posts exposing Vitolo Haddad's lies as another academic racial fraud. I'm not entirely sure why people feel the need to muscle in on positions within black and minority ethnic communities to then take up seats of power when they themselves are white. It's a rather odd dynamic. My view has always been, by the way, if we want to treat everyone equally, we shouldn't separate anything or have any organisations that separate by race. But let's play along with how society currently is, shall we? Because somewhat understandably, this is going to end up with people getting absolutely flayed for lying, for cheating, for stealing. I feel like I've just said something very Eddie Guerrero. Anyway, $6 everyone. They keep on coming out. The most recent have been using Medium. I may have to go over there and have a little nosy. Yes. I'd love to know what you think about this, by the way, so please do let me know in the comments down below. Last thing, streaming some murder fun time on Twitch tonight. Assassin's Creed 3. Ezio story's done, everyone. So if I don't see you there tonight, have a fantastic Monday. Thank you all for listening.